Welcome to the great courses of South Carolina. My name is Vern Wyant, and today we're at historic Fewell Park in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Located in the center of Alexander Road, Thornwell Avenue, and Glendale Drive, the park is roughly 5 minutes from Winthrop University off of Cherry Road and just south of the Old York County Hospital. The Fewell Park neighborhood was laid out in the late 1940s. In January 1955, it was voted on and approved for annexation into the city of Rock Hill. During that same time in 1950, the current Fewell Park Recreation Center was built. It was originally designed to be the York County Children's Museum, the first building in the United States dedicated solely for use as a nature museum for children. The quickest access to Hole 1 is by way of a small parking lot just off of Alexander Road. In the later hours, visitors may also use the employee parking on the other side of the building. In terms of design, Fewell Park is a compact course with 9 baskets and 18 tee locations. There are multiple targets in plain view, so it's best to consult a course map or U-disc while playing. Designed by Harold Duvall and installed in 1995, this course was the third modern course in South Carolina, following Earlwood Park in 1990 and the Winthrop College Lakeside course in spring 1992. In terms of smaller courses, it is only predated by the now defunct Myrtle Beach courses. With that in mind, Fewell Park can be considered the oldest modern 9-hole course in South Carolina. The original baskets were refurbished DGA Mach 1 targets, which found their way from Myrtle Beach to the PTL Club in Fort Mill, to the Latta Park course in Charlotte, North Carolina, and then finally to Fewell Park. These targets were replaced last fall with Innova Catcher Pro 28s. The original targets are currently stored in the Innova Warehouse. The tees at Fewell are marked with concrete circles in the ground, with blue markers for short tees and yellow for the long. The long tee markers for Hole 1 and Hole 4 may seem confusing at first, but as long as you notate directionality, things will be fine. This was done to maximize course space. Hole 7 is Fewell Park's signature hole. In the words of course designer Harold Duvall, Hole 7 is a downhill 65-foot ace run that is irresistible and perhaps the most aced hole in all of disc golf. However, if you miss, you might face the dreaded Fewell Park bogey, a 3 that feels as bad as a bogey.
All right, I'm here with Stuart Neal of the Rock Hill Disc Golf Club this afternoon at Fewell Park, and we're talking about all things Fewell Park and Rock Hill Disc Golf Club. Good to see you.
Hey, nice to meet you.
So I asked you earlier before we started filming about some of the different events you have out here, because Fewell Park, oldest 9-hole course in the state, but it's kind of a smaller typical park course, and a lot of holes are in here on top of each other. So if you could describe some of the things that you've done out here.
Actually, if you go by the courses we have in our area, you look at WINTHROP, which is obviously a big course that's well known. A lesser known course is Boyd Hill, which is around the corner. And then actually each of our most of our middle schools and high schools and a handful of our elementary schools all have little courses. But if you look at all the courses in our city, this is the course that gets played the most out of any of them. It's hot on any day. You can come out here pretty much any time of the day and find at least one person playing. Either they'll play 1 or 2 holes and then go, or like me, sometimes I'll come out here because parking lot's right here next to a basket. It's a good place to practice putting. You can get a full 9 holes in if you're by yourself in 20 minutes or less. So unfortunately, it also loses a bit of the let's go play disc golf for the higher level players, because I think the longest hole out here is right around 200 feet, maybe 230. So it's kind of, I don't want to say discouraging, but it's kind of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but less appealing to the player who wants to play, that course that has every hole that's 500 feet, or, want to throw out in the wide open they're not really too apt to come and play a course where they only really need to carry 1 or 2 discs.
Yeah, it's not really a grip it and rip it course, but I mean, some of these holes, especially from the longer pin positions, are tight and woodsy.
Yeah, a couple of them are tricky. Some are just have gotten more tricky over time because of tree growth and not necessarily because of less course maintenance, because there is upkeep at the park, but it's just the way nature is.
Right. So talking about some of the events that you've put on out here, one of the things that I saw on the Rock Hill Disc Golf Club page was a 2-disc challenge. Can you describe that for me?
Yeah, so we play weekly as a club, and again, just because of the nature of the course, it's not as appealing to play. So as a club, we only really play here in the evenings during those times around daylight savings where you're kind of losing light. You don't have time for a full 18-hole course round, but you do have time to come out here for 45 minutes or so before you actually lose the light. So that's kind of when we take advantage of this course. And because it's such a, I guess, easy course, the challenge for us says, okay, well, you can only take 2 discs. Sometimes we'll do 3, but you can only take 2 discs. Just see what you can do. And everybody for the most part has fun with it, because there is that. Okay, there is that one hole where I need to throw a sidearm, but am I going to carry my sidearm disc for the one shot?
Yeah.
And use that as one of my 2 discs.
So someone coming to this park for the first time, what disc do you tell them to bring?
Bring a straight throwing putter and a mid-range that is straight with a little bit of stability, that you can potentially throw a sidearm. Other than that, it's really up to you. Personally, I carry a Mako and a Innova.
Keeping it Innova, awesome. So what about people playing the course for the first time? Any particular holes you would say be on the lookout for hole number whatever, because this is not your typical pitch and putt or straight line?
Holes 5 and 8 from the long tee pads are kind of tricky. Both 5 more for the narrow gap, again due to the way the course has grown, and 8 just because it's kind of an awkward angle, and especially for newer players, a really high anhyzer shot or a really spike hyzer flick, so to speak, is really not something that they have in their arsenal.
Anything you'd like to tell us about the Rock Hill Disc Golf Club, and kind of give a shout out to different things that you guys do?
We've been around for 19 years now. The Rock Hill Club was established in 2000. I kind of started running things in 2012, and we've kind of snowballed from there in the good way. We play 52 Tuesdays a year, unless of course one of those falls on Christmas or New Year's Eve, one of those. But for the most part, 50 to 52 weeks a year. We do play at our school courses or courses like this. Once it's dark, we have put lights in the basket, and we play a lot shorter courses. But once the time change hits, we play our bigger courses. We play our WINTHROP, we play Boyd Hill. We actually don't play here when it's pitch dark, because there's only one light, and it's over here in the parking lot. And all the other courses we play during those times are mostly at schools and have parking lot lights and street lights that help illuminate the course more. So we tend to draw ourselves that way. Other than that, we're very casual. We always want new people. We want to encourage new players, and that's pretty much it.
If you're interested in the Rock Hill Disc Golf Club, get on Facebook and check them out. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it, man.
Sir.
Aaron Nicholson. We just finished up the Ladies League here at Fewell Park in Rock Hill, and I want to ask her a couple questions about, first of all, how do you get a Ladies League together, and second, how do you get them to keep coming back?
Well, this is our third week, and it took a lot of begging to get them to come out the first night, and I think mostly a lot of guilt tripping, and just basically.
I heard cookies mentioned too.
Yeah, cookies were helpful, but they came out the first night, and everyone just had a good time, and so then they just naturally came back. The key is at this particular league, we don't keep score, and we play just for fun. So I think you just want to know your demographic. Some locations will work better, keeping score and having a more formal, format. But in our location here, just having fun is what seems to be working.
Now, I also noticed that you brought out a lot of extra discs. Do you feel like that's helpful? Do a lot of leagues have their own discs at this point? Or?
Well, what's interesting is the first week, almost everyone used a loaner disc, and now everyone bought a disc and wanted to have their own, and some of them have been out practicing between the Ladies League. So, but I think it's important the first week to offer the disc and not make us feel pressured.
Right. Now, as far as disc choice on a course like this, what do you recommend? Because I talked to Stuart about other options, and he mentioned putters and mid ranges, but I also saw, I think, some leopards out here.
Yep, we have. So the ladies that were throwing the leopards there, they actually play on a more regular basis, so they're more experienced. The brand new people, I've been steering them towards the Wombat 3, the Mirage, and the Shark. The Mirage, I think, is the best. This is, a shameless Innova plug, but the Mirage the Mirage is hands down, I think, the very best beginner disc for women, because it's a small diameter, and the rim is shorter for their smaller hands, and it's an understable disc that will go far with just a touch of power. So all of my drinking discs for beginners are Mirage.
Oh, interesting. So you really stay away from anything that's like fairway driver and above.
Yeah, I think anything really, if you start getting over like a 5-speed, then you're just kind of setting them up for failure when they first come out.
Now, we had one very small human out here with us today. I know she was throwing the birdie a lot. What about someone that age? Do you recommend kind of the same thing? Or?
Yeah, well, she actually really likes red because she likes Elmo. So she picked both of her discs based on the color, but it worked out. She has a lighter weight DX Rock, and that's the one she was throwing, and she was putting with the birdie because she liked the picture of the birdie on there. So hers were like really mostly aesthetically chosen, but she throws them really well, so it worked out.
Oh, cool. So. Speaking of shameless plugs, obviously you are the founder of Throw Pink. Please talk to us about Throw Pink just for a couple minutes, because it's a great organization.
Yeah, thank you. So Throw Pink, I started it in 2013 with Harold Duvall. We're co-founders together, and it actually came about from the Magnolia Open, an event that's coming up soon. And we found that when we paired a charity with a women's event, more women would come out, because they felt like they could justify, taking a day away from their families to come out and play disc golf, because they knew they were making a difference. And it was just kind of a fluke. Like, we just paired it with that event. It worked out. We raised a good bit of money with a very little effort, and we thought, man, we're really onto something. Like, it got more women playing, and we raised money for charity. And this is great. Let's just keep doing this year round. Let's not just do it for one event. So it has kind of evolved. It started specifically for breast cancer. My grandmother had breast cancer, so that was something that kind of hit home, close to me, and that's where the name came from. So it kind of, maybe sticks us a little bit. People always thinking it's about breast cancer, but it's more about women's initiatives and health initiatives, not just breast cancer now. So
now, I noticed it's expanded from that initial event to it's a complete brand. You've got lines of discs, from Innova. You've got all sorts of swag and gear to go along with it. I mean,
nice hat, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, where'd I get that? But yeah, it seems to be everywhere. When I'm looking online and I see something that involves ladies disc golf, invariably Throw Pink is there in some way, shape, and form. I think that speaks a lot to just the testament of the foundation. Yeah,
I love hearing that. When I go out on the course and I see someone wearing a Throw Pink shirt or a hat, like, I get so excited. Like, I run over to them, they probably get scared. I'm like, can I take a picture? Or, you're wearing Throw Pink. And we were just at the Collegians last week, and a new initiative that Throw Pink is starting is a collegiate program to get more women teams involved.
Oh, nice.
So we raffled off a Zuka card, because Zuka's been supporting us this year. And that started the initiative. It started our fund for the initiative. And my 2 events that I'm running this year, the funds are all going to go and be earmarked for collegiate women's disc golf. So.
Greetings everyone, thank you for watching episode 2 of Great Courses of South Carolina Fewell Park. Got my notes, gotta get some thank yous out. First of all, thank you to Harold Duvall, who was gracious enough to allow me to play disc golf with him for an afternoon at the amazing Camp Canaan, and pick his brain on all sorts of things for the history of disc golf. That was awesome. By the way, still working on the forehand, trying to get all that information down. Thank you to Russell Schwartz. Thanks to Steve Lambert, who supplied me with not only great emails full of information, but this comprehensive resource on the history of Charlotte disc golf. That is a gold mine that I'm going to be mining for a long time to come. Also thanks to Alan Beaver for allowing me to email him back and forth and kind of cross-checking me on historic information. Very valuable. Thanks, of course, to Stuart Neal and Sarah Nicholson for allowing me to visit with them at Fewell Park and video them and interview. Thanks to the Ladies Disc Golf Club of Rock Hill, the Ladies League, for allowing me to come out and video them, slightly unannounced, but they were very gracious to allow me to follow them around and ask questions and just get some live action going on. Be on the lookout later this summer for a video on the complete Myrtle Beach disc golf scene. I've got almost all my information together where I can put together a complete timeline for everything from Tobacco Barn to where the baskets have ended up. I've alluded to that in the first and the second videos of Great Courses of South Carolina, and later this summer I'll have a full video on the complete history of that. Speaking of these videos, a huge thank you to everyone who has watched the first episode and who will hopefully watch the second episode of the series. I'm really appreciative of all the good comments coming from you guys, and I'm very excited to keep doing this, especially for the next episode, which is going to be completely epic. I've already shot all the footage there. I'm going down to visit with the Sauls boys and going to Stony Hill, and it is one of the most beautiful courses and sprawling courses that you're ever going to see. And many of you have played it, I know, and it is a blast, let me tell you. So be on the lookout for that. And until then, keep banging those chains.